You're listening to Kentucky Running, presented by John's Run Walk Shop in Lexington. Help others find this show by rating, reviewing, and subscribing in your podcast app. This episode is sponsored by Curex Insoles.
Hey runners, Matt Reno here, and we are less than a month away from Run the Bluegrass, America's prettiest half marathon. Really looking forward to this, and as we discussed on the show before, this is the first year Run the Bluegrass is being organized by John's Bluegrass Racing Company. Run the Bluegrass almost went away for good, but we could not let that happen. It's such a beloved Central Kentucky event that we wanted to do whatever we could to keep it going. And one new aspect we're excited to announce for 2025 is that Special Olympics Kentucky is now a race beneficiary for Run the Bluegrass. They've been a great charity partner for the Iron Horse Half Marathon, so it just made sense to keep supporting the cause with Run the Bluegrass. And you can sign up for both of those races and more at johnsbluegrassracing.com. And to learn more about this amazing organization, Brent Wallace joins the show to discuss his many years as a Special Olympics Kentucky volunteer. He's going to tell us about the opportunities that Special Olympics offers for athletes of all ages who have intellectual disabilities. He will also dispel a common misperception of Special Olympians, and he'll give us some advice on what not to do at the Polar Plunge. Let's learn about Special Olympics Kentucky and how you can support their important mission right now. My guest today is Brent Wallace, Regional Operations Director for the YMCA of Central Kentucky, and he's been a Special Olympics volunteer for many years, so he's going to tell us all about that organization and what they do, especially here in Kentucky. Brent, thanks for joining us on Kentucky Running today.
I'm happy to be here.
And I love that we've had Special Olympics as a charity partner for the Iron Horse Half Marathon for many years. And now we're trying to make an even bigger impact by making it a beneficiary of the Run the Bluegrass Half Marathon in May.
Right. It's a great partnership. And I know that whenever we've actually had some of our athletes out to the events, they always have a great time. They love to help, but they also love the interaction with a lot of the participants that come up and talk to them before and after the races. And it's been a great partnership.
Yeah, it's great. I love their enthusiasm. We love having them at the start finish line. For our listeners who might be new to the organization, could you start by explaining the overall mission of Special Olympics?
Special Olympics has been around a long time. It actually is global now, so it's not just an American thing. But Special Olympics, at the heart of it, it really helps to create opportunities in the sports realm for people with intellectual disabilities. I've been coaching for nearly 20 years, not to give away my age too much, but it's just a great opportunity because so many of our athletes don't have the same opportunities as everybody else. So whenever we actually create these opportunities for individuals with intellectual disabilities to participate, it really gives them additional sense of purpose. It gives them opportunities to learn, grow, be stronger, to create additional communities, not just for them, but also for their parents and caregivers as well. So it helps to create opportunities for people to be more healthy, but also have a sense of competition in a friendly way. But if you've never been out to like any kind of a Special Olympics event or activity, I encourage people to go out there. They have a blast, and they care. They really care about performing well. They actually get disappointed just like the rest of us whenever we don't achieve our goals. So there's a saying in Special Olympics also that we're more alike than different. Special Olympics certainly encapsulates that.
Love that. And how long has Special Olympics been around?
Oh, you put me on a spot there, but my guess is probably around 50 or 60 years. Maria Shriver, I think, is the one that actually started the event, and I think that she has some kind of relationship to the Kennedys, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
But they started this, I think it was maybe around California, but it just continued to take off and grow. It became a nationwide event. Then after that, it started to become global. We have Special Olympic athletes from all around the state of Kentucky that participate in about 17 different sports in Special Olympics. Every season has a end of the year or end of the season competition for state championships and regional championships. And every 3 years, I believe, the winners of the state championship are put into a drawing, and they get to represent the state of Kentucky for the America Games for Special Olympics, which is really something to be proud of.
Oh, yeah. What an accomplishment there. And when and where does it do the Kentucky championships take place?
Well, Special Olympics is year round. So every season has different sports that are offered. We just now wrapped up basketball, and not to plug my team too much here,
Go for it.
but I'm going to. I'm here. No one can stop me. But my team, we are the Lexington Torpedoes, and we competed in the Region 2, which is basically all of Central Kentucky, all the way up to Northern Kentucky around Cincinnati. And we took the gold medal in the regional championship, and we went to the state tournament. Didn't quite accomplish our goal, but we were about 4 points away from a state title, but we did get silver medal and the state runner-up. So back to your question, though, every season is, around the same time every year, and we usually have about 2 or 3 different sports going on at the same time. We do have track and field taking place right now, so I'm not sure if there's still time for people to get involved in that one because it's already going on, but we do have softball that's going to be starting up around May. And so if there's anyone out there that's interested in maybe getting started with an athlete wanting to play softball, or if there's a volunteer out there that wants to help coach or help volunteer in some capacity, follow us on our Facebook page, which is Special Olympics Fayette County. And they can go on there and kind of get updates on when we offer these programs and also the enrollment dates for those.
What are some of the different roles you've had as a volunteer?
Primarily, I've been a head coach for probably 15, 16 different years. I specifically coach softball and basketball, but I've also coached flag football. I've helped out with bowling. I've helped out as a partner in golf 1 year, which was a lot of fun. I don't know why they would pick me to be a partner, but we had a great time. And it's really all about the experience anyway. Here locally, I am listed as the Fayette County local coordinator. So I'm not an employee of Special Olympics, but I'm a volunteer. As you mentioned earlier, I work for the YMCA. But a huge passion of mine is working with people with disabilities. People are always saying like, oh, it's great that you do that, but I get every bit as much out of it as they do. It's such a rewarding thing. So anyone that's never been a part of that or never witnessed or observed any Special Olympics activity, I encourage people to go out there because your heart will be filled at the end of the day.
Nice. And what initially drew you to volunteering with Special Olympics?
I actually grew up with a cousin that had Down syndrome. And even though he was about 15 years older than me, we were so close. I've one of my fondest memories and photos I have is I'm probably about 5 years old in this photo, and I was on a family vacation. And my cousin, he was probably 21, 22 years old. In this photo, I'm just looking up at him, and you can just see that even back then I had like admiration for him because he was like one of my role models. And so he unfortunately passed away about 10 years ago, but he's the reason why I got involved with it. So, it's people like him that really makes this world a better place.
Definitely. And I'm sure you've witnessed some incredible moments throughout your time at Special Olympics. Could you share any specific success stories or inspiring experiences you've had?
Yeah, actually, one of my higher level players, because whenever I say higher level, Special Olympics is broken into 5 different categories. We have a B division, which is more of the beginner and basic, the athletes that may not know the sport very well, but they can keep on bumping up levels, almost like junior varsity and varsity. It goes all the way up to 4A. One of my 3A players, which these players, I'm serious when I tell you this, they could compete with a junior varsity basketball or softball team, whatever it is. These are good athletes. So whenever people think about Special Olympics, a lot of times their stereotype goes into like they might not be that athletically gifted, but that is a stereotype. That's not truth at all, because Special Olympics is all about the intellectual disability, not their physical ability. So we have some athletes that are tremendous athletes, but we have this one athlete. His name is Ryan Bartz. So Ryan, if you're out there listening, he's actually a runner also. His nickname is Roadrunner. So if you are listening, beep, beep, to Roadrunner out there, that's his go-to response if someone asks him a question. He's represented the state and also the country because he's actually competed in the World Special Olympic Games. But he's been in Scott County for several years, and he's actually participated in Special Olympics with the Lexington team in basketball and softball. But this year, he's decided he's going to be moving with his dad down in Florida. And so we had our state tournament with basketball just about 3 weeks ago, and they had a very nice ceremony because Ryan, he's been an ambassador for Special Olympics. He actually goes to different events and speaks. He also happens to work at the Kroger in Georgetown. So if you're actually out there, you may know who he is. He's just one of those reminders that how special Olympics is to the athletes, because they had a big ceremony for him after the game and they listed all the accomplishments that he has. And it's seriously like hundreds of medals and accolades that he's accomplished over about a 20-year career that he's had. And the lives that he's impacted as a Special Olympics athlete goes well beyond the court or the playing field. He embodies what Special Olympics is all about and is providing opportunities to those in need. And with him leaving, it's going to leave a small hole in our heart, but Florida's going to be happy to get him.
That's great. I mean, clearly Special Olympics goes well beyond physical activity, which is great, but there's just so much more to it for the participants and everyone else involved.
Right.
Yeah. I want to take a quick break to tell you about Kentucky running sponsor CureX insoles, available at John's Run Walk Shop. Whether you're looking for more cushion or arch support when you're running, or just going through your day-to-day activities, CureX Run Pro insoles could be the solution you need. They offer flexible support and shock-absorbing cushioning from heel to toe, helping reduce fatigue, preventing common running injuries, and boosting performance. Dynamic arch support with a deep decoupled heel cup fits, wraps, and locks the heel in place to improve stability, reduce pressure, and provide a perfect fit. CureX Run Pro insoles feature a zero heel drop, providing the best fit in most running shoes with optimized motion for all running foot strikes. And they help manage moisture with a mesh top layer and premium foam cushioning to keep your feet dry and your running shoes fresh. They come in 3 profiles, high, medium, and low, to fit your individual arch type. Next time you're in John's Run Walk Shop, ask us to check out your arches and knee alignment so we can help you find the right pair of CureX Run Pro insoles for you. Learn more at johnsrunwalkshop.com/insoles. Now our listeners are passionate about running, but also community involvement. So what are some of the ways they can support Special Olympics Kentucky, even if they aren't able to participate and Run the Bluegrass Half Marathon or specific events? What else can they do?
Yeah, well, we certainly encourage everyone to sign up for all your races. That's for sure. Yeah. Obviously, we want them to do that. But as far as Special Olympics goes, we have what they're called Class A and Class B volunteers. So Class A volunteer is someone who wants to get a little bit more involved on a more ongoing basis, such as coaching, which requires a lot of time investment. But we also have Class B volunteers who wants to just go out there and help with a special event. They want to help the registration or pass out awards or help with drinks or beverages, help with coordination, but it's like a one-day activity. That was how I got started. Probably about 20 years ago, I went to a track and field competition where I was passing out awards to people that won in their specific groups. And I had so much fun that day just being able to see all the activities going on and be engaged with all the athletes out there, that it's turned into a 20-year volunteer career for me now. People that want to do that, they can go to the Special Olympics website to find out all the different volunteer opportunities that they have. We're always looking for coaches and helpers to help operate team. We have team moms that, they want to come out, bring snacks to the players. With Fayette County and also surrounding counties, but especially Fayette County, we're a large enough community where we have a lot of athletes that want to participate, but sometimes we hit a ceiling with how many teams we can create because we run out of volunteers. So people that are actually wanting to give back, I encourage them to go on the website, find out any upcoming events or activities for those one-day volunteer opportunities, and see how you like it, see how you interact with athletes. And it could turn into something special, but, we're always looking for volunteers to take on, new teams. And you don't have to be an expert in it. You just have to be able to give them an opportunity, and you'll grow with them also. But we will usually provide some training for people and also give them tips and tricks of here's some drills that you can do. Here's the basics of becoming a coach. But really the main thing is we want someone that just wants to be able to give back and be committed to the athletes, and you'll learn the rest.
And we'll put some links in the show notes where people can learn more about Special Olympics and volunteer opportunities. Beyond volunteering, are there other ways that maybe businesses can contribute to Special Olympics?
Special Olympics is always taking on new sponsors. So we have about 3 or 4 major fundraisers that we do throughout the state. Most recently, we had the Polar Plunge that usually takes place over at Texas Roadhouse. They are huge advocates for Special Olympics, and they've been hosting the Polar Plunge for many years. But basically, people will make a contribution or a donation to where I don't know why they'd want to. I've done it many times, but jump in frigid water. Yeah. But it's all for a great cause, and the athletes love it. People get to dress up, but they also have the big brown truck pool that takes place at UPS. They also have the plane pool. But companies that want to get involved, maybe not necessarily on a volunteer basis, you could help by sponsoring Special Olympics with a financial contribution that really helps make Special Olympics and all the athletes. It gives them an opportunity to make it affordable for everybody to where there's no payment from the parents, from the athlete, or any of the caretakers. takers. So making a special contribution to Special Olympics. It's all tax deductible. You can go on their website and give, and that's a great way to give back as well.
I'm not big into freezing cold water, but I did this once when I was living in Vermont. They had their version of the Polar Plunge, which took place in Lake Champlain.
So you actually jumped into the lake then?
Into the lake.
Yeah.
It was February, so the lake was frozen. So they carved out a big pool-sized area, and people just had to run in.
Yeah.
And I felt fortunate that it was only like 30-something degrees that day, because it could have been much
worse,
colder. Yeah. But it was fun. It was for a good cause.
You know, people dress up. You know, it's a nice event. I mean, one of my biggest mistakes is the first year I did, I thought I was being smart. It was like, you know, I see all these people wearing very little clothing. While they're waiting, they're standing outside waiting for their turn. And it's like, I'm going to be smart. I want to dress up as Santa Claus. And I'm wearing this heavy suit. I'm like, I'm warm while everyone out here is freezing, but it's my turn to jump in. And all of a sudden I jump in, and now my suit weighs about 80 pounds and I'm struggling to get out of the water. My pants are falling off and I'm freezing after I get out of the water because I can't dry off because I'm wearing 80 pounds of water now. So I learned my lesson that day.
Okay. Don't make Brent's mistake. But,
Right.
But get involved. It's a fun event. What are some of the biggest needs or challenges that Special Olympics Kentucky currently faces? You mentioned volunteers, of course. Anything else?
Well, obviously volunteers is a huge one. Honestly, lack of space is an issue sometimes. You know, a lot of times our teams kind of struggle to find places to practice. Flag football or basketball or softball, a lot of times we have issues because, you know, we usually utilize the fields of like a church or a school. And that's become increasingly more challenging due to insurance and just, you know, they have their own activities there. So we're competing with other companies and other organizations that offer sports, maybe not necessarily for the special needs community, but space is difficult. So if there's any listeners out there that has access to some places that you'd be willing to share some of that space, Special Olympics does provide their own insurance, so you don't have to cover them. But a lot of times we're just looking for places for our athletes to go to practice.
In central Kentucky, Louisville area, there's lots going on, but are there pockets of Kentucky where there's not as much access? And what are some of the challenges there in making sure that people who want to participate can?
Yeah. Well, you know, ironically enough, it seems like some of the smaller communities have the biggest success.
Okay.
I've got a lot of friends over in the Grant County area, in Owen County, much smaller area than Lexington by far, but they have a lot of teams. Their community really rallies behind them. So shout out to all the volunteers over at Special Olympics for those areas that are making it happen. But whenever we are in larger communities like Louisville and Lexington, there's just so many organizations, so many youth sports, so many teen sports. It's hard for us to compete for that space. So sometimes the smaller communities actually have more access. But I'm sure they do share some of the same challenges that we do also, but some of them overcome it a little bit easier than others.
Okay, that's good to hear. Looking into the future, what are some goals and aspirations for Special Olympics Kentucky?
We always want to be able to grow. We know that there's a lot of individuals out there that, you know, have a routine that might not be the healthiest, that they're staying at home. Like a lot of the younger athletes that might be around 20 years old that are now out of high school and they might not have a job. So they might get stagnant, you know, sitting at home, you know, eating junk food, sitting on the couch, watching TV, and their health suddenly starts to decline every single day. So we want to be able to grow the program enough to where we provide opportunities for everyone of all ages. So that's an important thing to mention also, is that Special Olympics goes as young as 8 years old, and however old you are that you want to compete. We actually have players on the same team that might be 10 years old, it might be 50-year-olds, but their competition level is the same. So it's not providing any kind of risk and safety issues because they're at the same level when it comes to playing ability. I think one of the biggest goals that Special Olympics has is to try to get a lot more younger athletes involved, so you have that segue into adulthood for them, because we want Special Olympics to be strong for years to come. So we certainly want to get young athletes to get started in Special Olympics so they can have a career as they're becoming adults as well. Any
other messages you want to share about the importance of Special Olympics?
You know, as I mentioned before, I do it because I get so much out of it myself. You know, it fills my cup. You know, and people that whenever they actually go out there and see the athletes and say they see them perform, they see the aspirations that the athletes have. I've coached teams where just this last month we had our own March Madness. We were in the championship game. You know, a lot of people they think that Special Olympics, they're always happy. You know, I have players that are crying at the end of the game because they fought so hard all year long to get to that point, and they come just so close to reaching their goal, but didn't quite get it. So they're more alike than different. And I think that's the biggest thing about not necessarily just Special Olympics, but special needs in general. Go out there, have a conversation, say hello, strike up a conversation, because they want what everyone wants, and that's to be accepted.
Thanks a lot, Brent. This has been a great conversation. I learned a lot. And again, we'll put links in the show notes where you can learn more about Special Olympics Kentucky.
Sounds great. Appreciate it.
Thanks to Brett for talking to us about the amazing cause that is Special Olympics Kentucky. If you want to support their mission, click the link in the show notes to learn more. I'm Matt Reno from John's Run Walk Shop. Thank you for listening. Please help others find the show by rating, reviewing, subscribing. In our next episode, we're going to talk about how yoga can benefit runners. Don't miss it. We'll talk again soon on Kentucky Running.